specifically? Are you wanting just to know new ways of marketing yourself? I'm actually genuinely curious.
New ways to market.
New ways to market ourselves.
Yeah.
So, you know, right now I think that hopefully everybody is using all different kinds of social media. Hopefully you're doing classes. Hopefully you're doing a combination of many different things, because it's not going to be one thing that's going to get you out and your information out to all of those people. Everybody are different. Everybody, you know, like I have a lot of people that are still not on Facebook, not on any kind of social media. So I have to, sometimes they won't even text or respond to a text. I have to call them, or I have to go over there. We have to find different ways of touching each person, and it's the same thing when we're marketing ourselves. So it's really important to have a few different things. I will give you a handout at the end that will kind of recap some of the stuff that I'm going over. But the first thing I want to talk about is branding yourself. So first of all, you want to brand yourself, you want to have a website. Who has a website? Okay, so I firmly believe very much from the very beginning, if you set yourself up for success from the beginning, it's going to make it much easier as you grow. It's going to kind of keep you more organized. If you're here and you're like silver or gold or diamonds, I don't know what everybody's ranks are, but if you're already really busy and you have a huge following, it is a little bit harder to gather all of those people from your teams. So at that point, you're so big already, it's hard to gather all of the information. So if you're sitting here and you have a very small following,
Small, yes, very small.
small is okay. Small is okay. But I'm not even saying how many people you've signed up. I'm not anything, you know. When I started my dance studio, I managed another studio, and I really don't even know what I did on the first day when I opened. I think I just sat behind the desk until people were going to walk in the door. But I will tell you, I set myself up from the beginning with a newsletter, with a website, with all of the grow. It was very simple. So branding yourself is really important. So you need a logo. Okay? If you're not artsy, find somebody who can make one for you. You can pay people to do it. I'm just pointing out certain things that are really important to have for your business to promote yourself. When you have a logo, emails that you send out, you want it on Facebook, you want people to look at that logo and know that it's you. So that's an important thing to have. So you can only grow from here, right? If you keep up with it, you are going to grow. How fast you grow, you are going to grow. So get organized now. So create a logo. We just talked about that. Do doTERRA in here? Okay, so a lot of you have other businesses and things like that. Maybe your goal is to just make extra money on the side. Maybe your goal is to grow into doTERRA only. But what if doTERRA closes doors tomorrow? What if it did? You need to market yourself now and be very successful, so that way when other companies look at you, you have something to offer them. You don't want to only be marketable to one company. Market yourself for success for any kind of company, right? This is not what my life was dance. I never thought I would be up here talking about any kind of marketing, anything, because when I opened my business, I thought that was the worst thing. It was we're not good at something, we work really hard at it, so that way we excel in it later.
Can you just give me an example of a logo?
An example of a logo.
Yeah.
This is mine at the top. I'm going to give these out. This is my name. So, you know, I listen to a lot of, I'm sure you all know who Haley Hobson is.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of her marketing stuff. Everybody has something a little bit different to say when you're listening to all these different speakers. So I'm not saying only one person is right. She heavily focuses on marketing your name a lot. So I did decide to go with my name. So like if you're doing an LLC, my LLC is not Carrie Fernandez, but it is my DBA, my doing business as. So I want people to know my name and that's it. Like I don't want to have, it's just my preference. You can have your own business. Give me a business name.
A-D Handyman.
Okay, so you can be known as that. But okay, see, so you have a logo.
Yeah.
So, and that's when people see that logo, you want it, reference to the same, the same company. So I'm marketing myself personally,
okay,
not just the oils, right? So this is actually sort of turned into kind of like a small business for me on the side that I wasn't really planning on. So, and I still teach too. So you just never know. So the things that you're not as good at, I was not good at marketing, work really hard at them, learn about them now, because really in your own business, you should know every aspect of your business, no matter what you're doing. If it's real estate, if it's owning a ballroom dance studio, if it's a handyman, whatever, You may choose in the end not to do every aspect of your business. Maybe you'll grow and you'll hire people to do the things that you're not good at and have an assistant to help you with all these things. But in the beginning, it is really good for you to know all areas of your business. Okay, so we talked about getting a website. So get a newsletter. So I'm going to show you how to make newsletters. That's mostly what the class is today, and I know a lot of you have asked me so many times about the newsletters. You want your logo on everything. You want your picture on everything. So if you notice, who's on Joan's newsletter?
Joan.
Okay, so everybody's hand should be up. So all you have to do is go to joankuhn.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, you can put your name and your email, and you're on the newsletter. If you want to be added to my newsletter, my website is carriefernandez.com. Mine's at the very bottom of the website. First name, last name, email. Okay? So this is how simple it is. And this is something that's really important. This is all part of having your website and your newsletter. All of these things link together. So with my website, every class that I teach, everybody that I talk to, I will take my phone out, I will log into my website, and I will pass it around the class and have them specifically put in their information on my phone. Okay, I'm a little anal when it comes to some things, so I just like knowing that I get everybody's information. You could just verbally tell them at every class or anybody that you talk to, go to my website, scroll down at the bottom, put your name in. But you know what I've noticed, like in the past over the years with my business, like if you just think somebody's going to do something, they're probably not. But if you really want their information, you can make it happen. And it's not pushy. They want to be on your newsletter. They just don't ever get around to logging in on their own. So every class that you have, that's how you get your contacts. That's how you stay connected with people. So that's a really important thing. I did ask my website guy. I don't do websites. So a lot of people think I do websites. I don't. But I do have a really good connection with the guy who does my website. He's really great. And I asked him for a couple tips when you're putting together a website, because I knew most people here today probably wouldn't. And so he specifically said the most important things. There's a lot of, by the way, there's a lot of kind of like paste it together template type websites. So however you choose to do your website, I'm going to give you an example. Like when I had the studio, it was my most important feature was like if somebody Googled dance studios in Las Vegas, I wanted mine to be the first one to pop up. Okay, this business is very different, and really and truly mostly what I use my website for are the people that I already know go to my website to look at the events that I'm having on my calendar. I don't necessarily really rely on people happening to stumble upon my website. And so my website is developed, the guy who did it, to where I will pop up. But if you're doing some of you I think have like the template websites, you're going to have trouble popping up in the search engines most likely. But if you're using it for your teams of people and they know the website that they're typing in, you're probably not going to have any problems. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're trying to decide, should I pay somebody to do my website, or should I don't even know a name of a company off the top of my head.
Wix.
There we go.
GoDaddy.
I'm sorry?
GoDaddy.
GoDaddy. Yes. Well, mine's GoDaddy, but I had somebody do it, but I think they do have the ones that you can kind of piece together. But it's important to know the difference of what you're getting, basically. And so basically his thing is just my website guy said, make sure that your website is very visible on a phone. It's a lot of times when they're designed not properly, maybe it's only really visible on, on a computer. So make sure it's visible on the mobile device, and make sure it's very simple navigation and no clutter. So I've looked into a lot of people's websites and a lot of specific doTERRA ones that love to put all their DIY stuff, which is great, and you can get great recipes, but some of them you go to, there's just so much stuff on the home page that it's just like kind of like, wow, where do I even go? That would not be the best example of what you want. You want it very clear, very simple, what you're about, and just keep it simple. So I'm going to show you in a second how to do newsletters. So at the end, I'm going to pass around a paper, and I'm not here to promote one company. There are so many companies out there. You can have, what I use is iContact.com. They offer a 30-day free trial. So anybody can try it out without paying for anything, just see if you like it. There's Constant Contact, there's Aweber, there's just a whole lot of, there's a variety of companies out there. Really research them. Mostly what you're paying for, if it's just a newsletter website, you're paying for your contacts and how many emails you're sending out. So if you have under 100 contacts, it might cost you like $8 to $10 a month, and then it goes up, I think, by every 500 that you have. It's pretty affordable, and it's a very easy way, if you're utilizing it, and keeping, it helps you stay connected with people. So it links to all of your social media. I've been helping some people with some different companies than what I'm used to using. This is the homepage of iContact. Obviously, I prefer this because I've been using this one specifically for years, and I've just gotten really good at it, so it's very simple. But I recently just helped somebody with Aweber, which I found this to be more creative. And you think I'm creative, Joan, with your newsletters? Now you're about to see that it's really not all me because it's a lot of templates. But that's okay. I'm giving my secrets away. But I want to do this class for you because I want you to see how simple it is. It is time consuming in the beginning. The setup of your whole newsletter and getting all your contacts in one place is usually the hardest part. But once you kind of get going after a couple months, it's actually really pretty simple. So the Aweber that I used, two big differences that I noticed, this was very recent, is is anybody familiar with Aweber? Okay, well, they have some links where all you have to do is like click you've already uploaded as long as everything is set up correctly. You just click a button and your Facebook, your Twitter, like all those are connected like immediately. I'm going to show you what I mean in a second. Can I get a chair? I'll get a folding chair, it's okay. And they also have, Aweber has a feature that iContact doesn't have, but I try to put most of my classes on YouTube. At Aweber, I would be able to just attach an email where if you open up a newsletter, you see the video right there, and that's kind of nice. So mine doesn't do that. But I have another way that I usually do it. So if I have a class, I'll put a picture or whatever. I'll put the name of the class, and I'll say either just click this link or click the picture below to be brought to my YouTube page. So there's ways around it, but you're trying to go for cost as well. So a lot of the companies will offer your website, your newsletter link to it, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. And then they'll charge you like $60, $80 a month approximately. So for me, that doesn't really work out well. But for a lot of you, if you're just trying to find like a one-stop shop where everything's like already involved, I actually had somebody recently, she's not here today, but she gave me a handout on something I've never even seen. But it looked interesting. I think it was a little pricey, but for simplicity's sake, it was kind of good. So, okay, so all of your contacts, anybody that goes on to my website and puts their name and email, they get added. I will send out definitely class information. I send out, I think that it's just about me like pushing classes or things like that. Any kind of general information that I think people need to stay up to date on, I'll put it in that category. Everybody goes into one, kind of funnels into one. But then you can actually create separate lists under your newsletter. So let's say you have people that are brand new, they're not signed up, but you sample them and you want to tell them about your classes, but also not really like talk too much about the business. You can put them under another list. I think we'll put some examples here. And I will be handing this out in a little bit. Like new people that have just signed up, so they've already signed up, so you're not trying to get them to sign up for anything, but you kind of have a different set of. For me, I have a separate one that's specifically for my business builders or sharing, anybody that wants to grow the business. Because a lot of times people who are just the product users, they don't want to hear all that other stuff, and they don't want all of the emails, so I don't want to bombard people with all those extra emails. So I'm able to kind of separate my lists, and so I can keep everybody organized. So as you're entering the information, you're kind of setting yourself up to decide where you want your newsletters to go out. Does that make sense, or is that confusing? Okay. So on my home page of my website, this is what it looks like at the bottom of mine. I'm actually getting ready to switch it because this goes into my funnel, like probably one more if they're interested in the business where they can sign up right then and there. And sometimes they'll sign up for both. I haven't done that yet. That's on my to-do. So, okay, so basically lists are huge. So if I go under contact, you can see my lists, whatever you have. I'm not going to talk about how to set up your account. That's probably the most pain in the butt part of starting up your newsletter. But basically, if you exceptions, but you should be able to pull from any of your regular emails where you can kind of upload the form and contacts into one place. doTERRA, I I think now you can actually, they do, or you have to get it on an Excel spreadsheet. But so those of you that have really big teams, you could just get your computer and then upload it to the system. I know it sounds like a lot of information. I said setting up is the trickiest part, but that's the key, is getting everybody into one area, all your contacts into one area. You got to set it up right. If you don't have a big team, you could just enter them one at a time. If you have like 1,000 people on your team, that's going to take a long time to do. So that's the difference in doing it. So everybody that I personally put in, if I go under here, one at a time, or however I upload them, they go, I can organize them however I want to. If somebody actually goes to my website, like when I pass it around at my classes, which is what I prefer to do, I have it set up to where they get something called autoresponders. So I did not do this when I had my business, and I didn't even know how it worked, but it's so simple. You can set up different newsletters to go out, and you decide when they want to go out. So as soon as somebody, I'm sure you all have gotten them, as soon as you sign up for somebody's newsletter, you can opt in, or it'll send them an email and say, hey, click on this link and you'll be added to my newsletter. If not, then just disregard it and you won't be added to the newsletter. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is I have something set up. I have 6 emails. You can decide how many you want. It doesn't make a difference. But people are most excited in the very beginning. It doesn't matter whether it's oils, whether it's dancing, whether it's real estate, whatever they're interested in. People are excited in the very beginning. So you don't want them to sign up for your newsletter and then you don't have a class till 2 months later and they don't receive any information. So if you set up, I have basic information set up as autoresponders. So I have like a overall health and wellness information. I have one talking about, how to sort of like blend their oils and make sure that they're, just detailed information about oils and how they can use them. I have things set up about, getting to a class. You can do whatever you want to, but I have it set up like every 3 days where they get an email. This wasn't my idea. I took it from Bree and Hubby, who does exactly the same thing. I'm also on Haley Hobson's website. As soon as I see an email from them, I'm like, oh, okay, do I want this in mine? This business is about duplication, right? It's not about doing everything from scratch. You can get on my newsletter, and I have no problem if you want to pretty much copy the same information and use it for yourself. I like to know if you do, though, because then it makes me feel like, oh, they like that one. I love to get responses back from my newsletters. But feel free to use anything that I have. Or Joan probably, too, since I make hers. Okay, so let's try to make one. You want to see how we make one? Okay. So I have made tons and tons and tons of them, so I usually go back and reuse old ones because all my links are already set up and I can do it in like 10 minutes. But if I just want to show you, like, let's say, so I'm going to click on email. Let's say I'm starting a brand new, you've never created anything before, you're not going to have anything in there. So I'm going to go to create message. I also have already set up my own templates, use message builder. So all these here at the top are things I've already set up, so I'm not going to click on those. I will in a moment, but so let's say over here's different category. So let's say I usually go to like spa something.
So you're still in eye contact right now.
This is all eye contact, yes. So if you go home, do your 30-day free trial, you're going to get this. So let's just say general. It doesn't really matter what I'm picking. So let's just pick the first one. So this is a template that they give you. Obviously, it's not in English. This is just for you to plug in your own information. So let's say right here, you're going to put your company logo. Images are, you can download anything from the website, or I've already downloaded a whole bunch. Oh, hold on. So let's say this was my logo, business, okay? And over here you can type in whatever you want to. You just highlight, type whatever you want. And you're literally just copying and pasting. You can add more pictures. You're just personalizing it, really. Essential oils for pregnancy and birth, that's a class I have coming up. I would put the date, the information, all this stuff. And then I would probably say, like, let's say this is my logo, which it's not, but let's say it is. I'll click on it. I'm going to open up a new page. You can link anything to any website. So it's really important that you're linking to your website, so that not like the entire page, but you want to have pictures and links and things going back to your calendar on your website, so you're referring people where to go. So if I go to my website right here, this is the easiest way to do it. You just copy the link at the top, and then down here, I know you're not going to remember all this. And that's okay. You're going to go home and you're going to play with it. You're going to try it out. If you have problems, you can always contact me. So, and then you can actually, this little symbol right here, it's an insert link. Okay, so that way I can just copy and paste right there. And so that way anybody that clicks on my logo right here gets automatically taken to my website. That's a huge feature right there. So for example, Joan had her big party at convention last week. Yay! If you missed it, you missed out. So what I did was, the party was, this girl is on fire, but it was like a Hawaiian theme. So I took a aloha picture and I plugged it in and I said, click on the aloha picture below to be taken to, and I just basically linked it to the Eventbrite where people could register for the class. So it's really helpful. You're not just giving information, but you're making it really accessible for them to get right to where they need to go. People are lazy. No offense. People are lazy. They want you to set it up to where all they have to do is touch a button, and then you're going to get, you know, you're going to make things happen. So this is just, I'm just showing you how simple this is. You're basically just plugging in all your information. They're spell checked. You can create different blocks. You can change the colors. So this is where, you know, it gets sort of time consuming because then you're trying to decide, like, you know, what colors do I want? You can change the color of everything, add different images. You can add blocks, like if I want to add a block here, and I could add whatever. It is definitely proven that people like pictures. So don't send out emails with just text. It's very boring. People like to see pictures. People like to see pictures of you. This is a very personal business, so you need to have your picture on everything. Also, something recently I just learned about is on your website, like, which I don't have right now, but maybe I will add it in. At the bottom of your website, right here, where people are signing up for your newsletter, it's, I guess, proven that it's a very good thing to have a short little video of you speaking. So people actually can connect to you personally. So they see what you look like, they see what you sound like, they're signing up for your newsletter. So they're creating this sort of personal, you know, touch with you. So it's not just so basic. So it's just something extra that you can do and add to your, it's all about marketing yourself. You're marketing you. You're not marketing doTERRA. You're not marketing your other companies. It's all about you. So what can you provide? Anybody can buy oils. They can buy them on Amazon. They can buy them through your neighbor probably, but why do they come to you? They come to you because they want your education. They want your expertise. They know that you're going to take care of them. And it's the same thing. You still have to be professional. You have to have a place to send people to. If you have a website, a business card and a website, I don't even have my retail website on my card. I don't want people going to my retail website. I don't even think I've had anybody ever order anything through it because I just sign everybody up. Everybody, if they can afford a Costco membership, it actually, we used to always say, right, it's about the same as a Costco membership. It's not. Costco's $55. It is $35 to sign up for your own account with doTERRA. Most people can afford that. So, and if they can't, they probably can't afford the oils, but it's very professional for them to be able to go to your website, see that you're legit, see that you're working this as a business, even if you only have 3 people under you. That's your starting. You're only going to grow from here.
Question.
But yes.
Can you link your doTERRA website?
No. Nope. You're not allowed to do any of that.
It's against
Yeah.
doTERRA policy.
Against doTERRA policy. You can't link your retail website. I actually had it set up in the beginning before all this stuff happened where you could actually link and sign up, just sign up right there through my website. You can't do that either. So mostly, honestly, I use my website mostly for the calendar option because most people go to my website to see what is basically what's going on. And if you're doing a website and you're having somebody do it for you, I highly suggest that you do like something similar to Google Calendars because if you didn't create your own website, I don't know how to do all the internal stuff with my website. But I do Google Calendars myself, so I can always go in and change whatever I want, add things. It's just important for you to have that accessibility to be able to go in and make those changes and not rely on somebody else. Or if you're okay paying like a pretty big monthly fee, that's what they're there for, to make those changes. But I can tell you it's pretty simple. You can do it yourself. Yes?
You said you can have as many emails as you want through iContact. And what is the end of the email?
What is
Like
the end of
iContact.com or like at?
It's just iContact.com.
Okay.
Yep,
That's just the end of all the emails.
I don't think I know what you're asking.
Instead of at Yahoo.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's iContact is just where my newsletter goes out of. It is linked through my email, which is info@carriefernandez.com. So when people get emails, this is actually something very important to talk about. So I created a P.O. box. I paid for a P.O. box because if you do a newsletter, you have your personal information on there, and at the bottom, at the bottom of it, it will have your name, your email address, and your address. So, and I don't want that personal information going out there, so I have a P.O. box specifically for that. Plus, it looks more professional to have that than your home address. So I definitely suggest getting a P.O. box for privacy purposes. Also, people can get your information. Just having a newsletter and you're a business, my website guy says, this is not what he says. Hopefully he's not watching this. This is how I kind of take it. Like, your information's sort of floating out there. And anybody, marketers or whatever, can grab your information. You don't want them having your home number. You don't want them having your private information. So it's better just to get a P.O. box to link it to. Does that answer your question? So I don't have an email that finishes with iContact or anything like that. It's linked to my personal email. My email is linked to my website. So my website is through GoDaddy. I got my email address from GoDaddy. And so it's all linked together, basically. Yeah? Okay, so you can see this is kind of like plug all the information in that you want to. You can play with it. Let's say you can spell check it. Obviously, you see you can be very creative. There's some very cool ones. You can save the template. So let's say you're sending one out every week. Like Joan likes to have the colors from her website. So I have a couple different templates, and every website, every newsletter I send out is sort of similar, but I change the colors every time just to kind of keep it exciting. But I always stick with the same colors because that's what she likes. So if that's the case and you really like this newsletter, you can click Save the Template. And so that way you can come back and reuse it later. When I had my dance studio, I didn't do that, and I'm actually much more knowledgeable now about all this stuff than I was when I had it. But I sent out a different one every single time. But I still had my logo on it all the time. I still linked to everything. So those are really important factors. So when you go to send it, just put in whatever. I'm not really going to send this one. But when you go to send it, you can pick which list that you want to send it to, and then it will also give you an opportunity down here to link to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. So all of that stuff would already be set up. If you have everything set up correctly, all you do is click on it. It'll even let you post whatever you want, and then you can click a different picture for it to pop up on Facebook. Like, what picture do you want to, focus with this newsletter? Usually, I do a picture of myself, just so people don't forget who I am. I don't know where it is right now, but we'll pick flowers for now. And then you basically can type another message. You come down here, you can post to Twitter, and then you just click send, and it links to everything. So it really does save you a lot of time. Once you have everything set up correctly, and you've done a few newsletters, it's pretty simple. The autoresponders, setting up your lists, setting up your autoresponders, it is time consuming, but that way when you have autoresponders already set up, and somebody brand new signs up for your newsletter, they are actively getting information without you having to do anything. And that's what the key is. It's not about you doing all the work all the time. Yes?
Can you auto-respond to Instagram?
Not through iContact and not through any of the other ones that I've done. I'm not sure why, but yeah, they don't have links for Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty simple once you get, play with it. So I do have information, just kind of briefly, like some of the stuff that we focused on. Actually, can you just pass them down?
Sure.
Pass them around. I'm not here to market myself, just so you know. I just know a lot of you were asking about the newsletters and things. If you need help, because I do know that not everybody is up on all of this stuff, but if you need help, I do help people with it. I do it 2 different ways. I set people up with, I basically do a setup, and then I do the monthly, but I'm very choosy about who I do monthlies with, just monthly newsletter where I create everything, just because it's a very personal thing. Like, I actually encourage people to do it themselves, just because you can make it your own, and people will know if it's coming from you. So having this business is different than doing something through my dance studio. I never used me personally, even though it was completely my business. I never used I in anything. And then if that makes sense. Like everything is we and the business. It's all about the business. And for this, it's very personal. So when I make my newsletters, I'm sending the information to each person. I want them to know it's me. So when I do Joan's newsletters, I do a monthly and I do a weekly. So that's all I really would do for people. Anything extra you would do yourself, but it's pretty personal. So I feel like I do an okay job with Jones because I know her pretty well. I know what colors she likes. I know little quotes that I think that she would like. So she pretty much lets me do whatever I want to. So it works out quite well. But it's really just about spending the time and figuring out how to do it. And so if I do at the bottom, I did put up information on if you need my help, you're more than welcome to contact me. But the setup actually includes me gathering all the contacts and things like that and linking everything. So all you have to do is jump in and learn to use it. And then it also includes an hour of your time with me so I can kind of show you around your account. But I guess really mostly from today is I hope you just have an idea more of like marketing yourself, branding yourself. Use all avenues of social media. Use everything. Don't just use Facebook. Don't just use Facebook classes. They may work really well for you, but just imagine what you're missing out on with all of the other stuff. So really just try to connect to as much stuff as you can. Especially, it's free. Most of social media is free. So I'm not saying to go do the pay-per-clicks. I personally haven't done it with this. I did it with my other business. I didn't have very good luck. Does anybody else do that with the doTERRA stuff? Do you do pay-per-click?
Yeah, it's not really worth it.
Yeah, I felt like I was just sort of throwing money away, so that didn't really work for me. I think this is too personal of a business to do the pay-per-clicks. I didn't even get good results with the dance studio, and that was very public. So does anybody else have any ideas of marketing ideas that maybe we didn't cover or something that you might want to share?
Is Crystal here? Crystal's not here yet, so she's the Dance for Girls. She teaches a social media class, and something that she talks about with Facebook specifically, or even websites, is the new thing is live video, and that changes the algorithms of your whole website. And you know, she gets a little more technical, but basically live video is where it's at. And they say like to keep it under 5 minutes, and it brings a lot of attraction. So that's free too.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I guess that's probably where I was going with adding a little video at the bottom when people are signing up. Like usually, I think that what I watched on a live video when they were talking about it is usually like keep it like a minute or two long, just so people know who you are, hear what you sound like, see what you look like, and then just have a personal connection to you. Yes?
Two things. One is pay-per-clicks, and then the other is the text.
What was the second?
I'll have a thing to tell you about.
Oh, okay. Pay-per-clicks is just like on Facebook. If you go under, under some sort of under the business side of it, I don't know exactly what the link is, but they give you an option where you can basically like promote your business, but you're paying. So every time somebody clicks on your ad that you've created, it's usually like $1, I think, or you can do more. But yeah, every time they click on it, then Facebook charges you.
Okay.
So that doesn't even mean that the person does anything with it, but if they click on it, you pay for it. So yeah. And what was the second thing?
So other than doTERRA, I'm also a private tutor, so booking is really important in my business. If you need a free booking website, youcanbookme.com is a really great place to go. You set it up with your email and your Google Calendar, so you can announce it on your website, and they can book you through there any slot that you've made available. They can take it themselves, don't have to meet to schedule or email or contact, which eliminates the step and you're more likely to get the business.
Okay, that's cool. That's neat. Very good.
That's funny when you try to put youcanbookme.com into a note. It spell corrects it to toucan bookie. Apparently, I prefer taking bets.
Hey, whatever works.
Only in doTERRA.
I was going to mention one last thing that I'm pretty much done, and I'll hang out if you guys have any questions. But kind of talking about all avenues, and I think that there probably are some people in here that are afraid to speak in front of people. You don't have to raise your hand, right? But I will just tell you that when I first I'll even go back. When I first started teaching ballroom dance, I was a ballet dancer before that. You don't have to talk, you just dance. I could dance in front of thousands of people. Never wanted to open my mouth. I moved over into the ballroom side of things, and I was about 20 years old, and my boss said, "What is your biggest fear?" And I said, "Speaking in front of people." Well, the very next show, I was the MC of that show. And I was sick to my stomach, and I kid you not, it was probably the worst showcase ever, and I hated the sound of my voice on a mic, and I was like this. and I would just read it, and I would make mistakes, and I didn't even want to look at anybody. I was like terrified, and so it was not good, but I guess I got a little bit better at it. And then I managed a studio here in Vegas before I opened my business, and I was very close to going into business with somebody else as a partnership, specifically because they were very good at talking. They were like, they loved it. They loved to talk in front of people. I loved the business side. I loved teaching. I loved organizing. I didn't mind doing the books. Any of that, fine, but don't put me in front of people. Not on a mic, nothing, you know. But how do you have a business where you can't speak to everybody? So we did when I opened my business, I decided not to go into business with him, so I did it all by myself, and that meant I was the MC of every event. And so the first year, I probably had 4 showcases, anywhere ranging from like maybe 50 people to like 150, 175 people. And the first few showcases, I was like, same thing. I'd write out word for word everything that I was going to say, which was good because when you write it out, it gets into your head, right? But the first showcase I did didn't go so great because I did a lot of reading. And then the second one, and some of you might relate to this in the classes that you're doing, like you write out all the things you want to say, and then maybe after the class you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't say this and this and this, right? But after the first showcase, I would just write like 1 or 2 words of the things that I wanted to cover. Because I don't want it to come across like I'm reading to you. I could just pass it out and let you read it yourself. So, I was able to actually speak it without having to. Anyway, my point is, just do it over and over and over. You will get comfortable with it. And now I have like no problem speaking in front of however many people. And the only thing that gets you there is time and just doing it. So if you're afraid of doing it, make yourself doing it. So like I was just suggesting to somebody today, like with my classes, they are more than welcome to come to my classes and just speak like 10 minutes at a time. So they don't have to prepare or do too much. They have to prepare, yes. But you don't have to over-prepare. You don't have to do too much. You're not running it. And I promise you, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, the better you will get at it. So just use all avenues. Teach classes. Do one-on-ones. Use your social media. Get a website. Get a newsletter. Link them all together, and then you'll be good to go. So that's all I have today. You guys have any questions? So, okay.
I have a question, Carrie.
Yes.
Okay. So in the very beginning when you opened, you mentioned you might change something on your website and add at the bottom for people to connect with business.
Yes.
And then during that, you said there is a little bit of a snafu with doTERRA that you don't have a link that can actually enroll them.
Okay, let me clarify.
Yeah.
I want to add a link at the bottom to my business newsletter. Nothing. I can't link to doTERRA anything. I want people to be able to sign up for my newsletter, but right now it's all filtered into just one.
Okay.
So when I have people that I'm with and they want to be on both, like I have to manually go back in and do it myself, which is fine. But the busier you get, the harder that gets. So if you can make things easier for yourself now and set it up that way, it's going to be easier later. So just by me having that extra little link on the bottom that will put them into my business newsletter also, that's one less thing I have to do. Even if I'm handing them my phone and having them plug in the information, it just makes it a little bit easier than me having to go home and remember to add each person to each list. So, and I would be careful you don't want to add too many of those to your website because, again, you want to keep it super simple. But I think of having a regular newsletter and a business newsletter, I don't think is too much. So you just want to keep it simple. So.
The phone number that you have here, I'm assuming it's your cell phone?
It is.
Okay. So do you like texting?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, if you're contacting me directly, I have terrible cell service in my home. I have a landline, so texting would probably be better. You'll get a faster response than I can call you from my landline. But yeah, if you have questions, I have no problem answering questions. If it goes into way more detail and you want help actually getting it together, the price is different for everybody just because it's very individualized what you want. You know, it depends on what you're wanting. So, but I hope this maybe inspires you to go and kind of market yourself and get your stuff organized and together. And yes, that's it.